Hello everyone and welcome to Call Sign Charlie Models. Andre here, and today we have another inbox review, and this one is fresh off the presses. I literally just removed the shrink wrap around this box and this kit literally just came out. So we are doing today the Academy 135th U.S. Marine Corps UH-1Y Venom right here. And this kit, I really have high hopes for it because I have built the UH-1Z Zulu from them, and that kit was an absolute dream to build. That was probably, in my opinion, one of the best helicopter kits to ever be released, only challenged by possibly the TACOM and Ming AH-64 Apaches that were released a few years ago. But this kit, like I said, I really have high hopes for because of the experience I had with the UH-1Z, and we're going to have to see how this one looks here in just a second. But going on by the top box art, we have some absolutely amazing box art on the top, and this is an official licensed product from Bell Helicopters right here. Then we go off to the side, we do have 5 schemes available to us on this kit, all looking very nice. Right there we have the 2 black tops right here, and then we also have 3 kind of low-vis versions right here. This also comes with a photo etch fret and also a masking sheet as well. Then we go off to the other side, and then we have our color callouts using Humbrol, GSI Krios, Life Color, Testers Model Master, Revell, Vallejo, and AK Interactive as well. So let's get the box opened up and let's take a look inside. And it looks like it's fairly decently packed. A lot of plastic included in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the plastic out, and we can start going through all the instructions, decals, and plastic. So I'll be back in 1 second. Alright, so starting off with the instructions, okay, it is a little bit confusing. There are 2 different manuals here. So you have this one right here, then you have this one right here, which is manual 2, and it looks like it starts off at step number 18. So we'll be getting to this one here in a second. But starting off here, we have the typical Academy fold-out style instructions. Then we have a repeat of the color callouts or paint callouts that we have. Then also a legend of symbols that we're going to be using. And then we start off with our kit. We are looking firstly at the window mask and photo etch and everything. So this is where the number of masks go on your clear parts right here. And then also some other photo etch. Okay, so this one is showing your mask option, and then this one is showing where all the photo etch goes. Alright, so starting off, we are working on our rear cabin, going right there, adding in a few extra parts on there. We do have a few holes to drill, and then working on our pilot seats right there, and a couple other components for our crew deck. I can't tell, maybe these are our pilot seats right here. And then we have some other parts, some decals to go on this box right here. Then you're attaching that to the flight deck right here. So this is our aft cabin seats right here, and then adding some more cabin seats right there, and adding some more aft cabin detail to that. Now we are starting with our pilot seats and getting those attached to the front flight deck right there. Alright, so moving on to step 6, we are adding in our cyclics and collectives right there, and then we have our instrument panel. We do have a couple decals to add to the instrument panel for our MFDs, our multifunction displays right there. And then we're getting our instrument panel attached to our instrument combing, and a couple other pieces going on to that, and then we are attaching that to our center control console right there. And then we're getting that attached with our rudder, and then also our ceiling or overhead for our rear cabin right there. Then we flip all these instructions over. Then we're getting all of that sandwiched into our fuselage halves with another little box right there. As you can see, we have a pin to go. We do have a caution up here on getting parts in. We'll have to see how that looks when we do the actual build. Then we have a color call out for a couple parts that are going into the next step right here for our overhead piece. After that's all done, we are getting that overhead, can't think of what it's called, but getting that attached to the model along with the nose piece right there, and then our clear parts going in with a overhead control panel right there. And then we have our exhaust going on. Does not look like we're going to have full engines on this kit. Alright, then we're getting our skids attached right there, and then our front sensor going on. Then we have our engine covers going on. Like I said, does not look like we're going to have an engine available for this kit. And then a couple other pieces going on to our tail section. Then the tail section looks like it is slide molded like the AH-1Z was done. So that's going to be very nice on that. So get that attached. And that's it for part 15. Alright, so this one ends at part 15. And the next manual Alright, so it starts at part 16 right here. Starting off with our doors, getting all those done. We do have some decals to put on the inside of those. And then we are getting those attached. We do have the option of having them in the opened or closed position, it looks like. Right there. And then moving on to step 18, we are working on our door guns. And also we do have the option of having rockets and guns attached right here. See, getting that all attached, and then we have some windshield wipers and a couple other pieces going on there for detail parts and antenna. Then we're working on our tail rotor right here. Then we have the 4-bladed rotor right here. We do have the option of having it in the spread or folded position, as you can see right there. Then we flip this over. Then we have just attaching the rotor blades right there along with our rotor blade holders right there. Then we have our sprue callouts at the very end. The numbers are legible, so you can see all the numbers very nicely to say. And then we also have a list of unused parts as well. So I'm assuming what they did was they mixed in a lot of the AH-1Z parts. We'll have to see. Along with it, so because there are a lot of parts that are not used for this kit, and I don't see there being very many different variants of this one for that to be an excuse. So we'll have to see what parts are not used in this build. Alright, so up next we have our color callouts. The first one is from HMLA 369 from 2020 right here. Again, nice kind of low-vis scheme on that. And then again, we have another fold-out option right here. So I'm just going to go from the inside right here. We have our standard common data right here from left profile, front profile, top profile, and bottom profile right there. Then we have our next one, which is from HMLA 169. Iwakuna 2017 right here. 3 different options it says for the different ones on that. And then the next one is from HMLA 267 Marine Corps Air Station Miramar 2017 right here. When we flip it over for our next one, we have HMLA 469 Marine Corps Air Station Miramar 2019 right there. Again, nice color scheme on that. Then we have HMLA 469 of 2017 right there. We already did the HMLA 369 of 2020 right here. Again, nice color option. And then we have another common decal sheet or from our port profile right there. Alright, so up next we have our decal sheet, and the decals on here do look very nice. They are nice and thin. The colors all look very nice on them. We do have our instrument panel right here for our MFDs in the on position right there, and then all the other decals again look very nice. Does say they are printed in Italy, by Cartograph. The Cartograph is in very fine print down on the very bottom corner here. So they're Cartograph, so we know they're going to be absolutely top notch on the decals. Then up next we have our vinyl cut, or this isn't vinyl, this is actually tape. You can't really see the lines, but they are laser cut mask right here, so you don't have to trace them out and draw them out and cut them and do all that like you do when Tamiya gives you masks. Then we have a small photo etch fret right here, which is with all of our grills and a couple other detail parts right here. Very nice and thin photo etch, but strong photo etch. And it's a very small fret, really going to help liven up those grills on that. Alright, so we are starting off with the fuselage halves right here. And as you can see, we have some absolutely gorgeous rivet detail. I'm hoping that the camera will pick those up. You can see all of that rivet detail on there. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Top and bottom, all the way around, all the detail looks absolutely top notch. Now, the one problem is with this bottom seam line right here, we probably will lose a lot of that when we're trying to fix that seam line on there. But on the top side, a lot of this area is going to be covered. Pretty much all of this part is going to be covered. So kind of the way I wish they would have done it possibly was kind of make a bottom shell right here, so you have two side pieces right here and then a bottom piece that is one solid piece right here, so you don't have that seam line in the middle. But that's just the way that I would engineer it. But for the side detail on this, and rivet detail, panel line detail, all the detail that's on here looks absolutely gorgeous, right? And then that's the port side. Then on the starboard side, we had the same level of detail, as you can see, all the way through there. Looks absolutely gorgeous. When you paint this and weather it up, it's going to look amazing when it's all done. Alright, so up next we have all of the detail parts. Looks like some of our prop parts or rotor parts right in there. Then we have our winglets for our tail section. We do have, okay, it is in half, so I wasn't sure if it was going to be one piece or not. But again, you can see all that fine rivet detail on there. Looks very nice. It might be a little bit large and out of scale, but that's kind of something that you have to deal with to make it visible. Because if they were actually to scale, they would be invisible. But everything else on here does look okay. We have some giant mounts. I think these are for our main rotors possibly right here. So the main rotors are going to be very sturdy on that. As you can see right here, all the other detail on there looks very nice. We flip it over. No real issues with anything on this sprue because you're not going to be able to see any of this side right in here. Alright, up next we have a double sprue. We have our sidewinder, all that stuff. That was meant for the AH-1Z. Pretty sure, like I said, that this is a AH-1Z sprue. Because the rotor blades right here, nicely detailed on those. And then we have a bunch of other antennas and all that. Our rocket pods right here. I'm sure this is one of the sprues that has a lot of parts that are listed on that not unused list right there. Our Hellfire missiles, again, they're slide molded right here, so they are one piece. The fins do feel a little bit thick. Definitely need to shave those down to get them thin on that, but the detail on them absolutely looks amazing. Alright, flip it over to the other side. We have the launcher for our Hellfire missiles. Then also our rocket tubes. You do have the empty or full position right there. And you can see all the other detail on everything for our main rotor head right there. Come on, focus. Alright, up next we have another sprue with a bunch of other parts, detail parts, interior, exterior parts. We got our engine covers right here. Again, looking very nice. We're going to have photo etch detail that goes over there. We also have the overhead control panel right here, I believe that is. Looking pretty nice. We do have some nice circuit breaker detail right in there and some switches and all that. If you want to, if this is the overhead panel, you can go in and add your rotor brake and all that to that. But the rest of the detail on here looks very nice. We have the underside for our nose right there. Again, looking very nicely detailed on that. Our skids also looking very nice as well. Then our instrument panel, again, looking very nice, all with the MFDs. If you're going to have it powered down, you just paint it black and then use the UV liquid resin to put your TV screens on there. There's not much detail to it, so you really, I might be actually building this one out of the box. We'll have to see what res kit comes out with, or any of the other manufacturers, to see if it's worth it. Again, a lot of this detail looks very nice. Maybe the center console right here could use a little bit of sprucing up, but for the most part, I mean, the switches and everything on here do look, actually, okay, I spoke too early. That detail is absolutely amazing. The camera, sadly, is having a very difficult time picking it up because the detail on there is so fine and crisp. The little keypads on these buttons right here, you can actually see each individual button on those keypads, right? So that is absolutely amazing. Then we have a few other parts right here going on. All right, so our seats right here, they do look a little bit generic. Could definitely use some sprucing up, but I'm sure somebody will come out. But there's also techniques that you can use with using Mr. Surfacer to kind of add some texture to these seats as well. And I don't know where the seat pans are yet, so we'll have to see how those look. Looking on the back side, not much of this you're going to be able to see. The engine covers, there's no engine, so you don't have to worry about the insides of that. And then everything else, we do have some ejector pin marks on the backs of the seats right here. That's the small issue that we have, but those also do go up against a bulkhead, so I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to see those anyways. Alright, and then we have some more fuselage detail going on. Here we have our engine exhaust covers right there. Our intake fans, again, the blade detail on that looks absolutely amazing on both of those. Then we have the rear, the tail connection point right there. We're going to get to see the tail here in a second, going all the way on. Then we have our tail section right here, again slide molded, looks absolutely amazing. It's one piece, gorgeous rivet detail on here. Now the rivet detail on this tail does seem a little bit different than the rivet detail that's on the fuselage. It seems a little bit lighter back here than what was on the fuselage. Then we have this piece. This piece was meant for the Viper or the Zulu, so we're not going to be using that part. Then also these winglets, again used for the Zulu as well. Alright, so up next we have a double sprue starting off with, and this one looks very nice. We do have some detail right there with our jump seats and a couple other parts. Our folded blades right there, the holders right there, and then we have our folded blades, which are molded in the folded position, so you know that they're going to be in the correct position when you do this, and also it's going to help with the strength of that fold. So again, very nice. I haven't seen this done before, which I am definitely liking that, and I might have to buy two of these kits so I can do one in the folded and one in the extended. But again, very, very nice detail. All the little details that are around here. We do have the body for our gun, I think that is. We'll have to see. And then also our collective right here, looking very nice as well. A lot of nice detail. The barrel for our 50 cal is not drilled out. I'm hoping that will focus eventually. Yeah, and the body detail looks pretty decent on that right there. But again, a lot of really nice small detail, and I'm also a huge fan of the folded blades and how they are molded as well. Flip it over to the other side. A lot of the stuff you're not going to be able to see, but as you can see, we even have our machine gun chutes right here. Some nice ribbed detail on those chutes. Hopefully the camera will pick it up. The camera's having a difficult time today. But okay, now we have another sprue. This is our doors right here, and then we have the exterior of the doors with some nice rivet detail, and then we have the interior of the doors again with some nice rivet detail and molded on detail. Everything looks absolutely gorgeous on here. Really impressed with this kit. Getting all the other detail right along. We have some more doors right here for both the interior and exterior detail on both of those doors. Then we have the intakes right here. Again, very nicely done on those. Just moving around, all the detail on this kit is absolutely top notch. Really nice. Alright, up next we have that top portion of the fuselage right here. Again, really nice detail. We're going to have photo etch parts that go into here to help add some detail to those grills right there on both sides right here. And then we have our flight deck and cabin, which again, really nice rivet detail all the way through, and all of our tie downs and everything. Really nice. Really nice. And then the top, our overhead, again, some really nice detail, even with the boxes and everything that are going in there, and some cabling. If you go in there with some lead wire and add in a little bit more, that would really throw it over the top and look really good. But you have a good starting out point for the main electrical components going on right there. So very nice details going all the way around. Flip it over to the other side. Really, you're not going to be able to see any of this detail on the inside, because right here you're going to have the propeller shaft that comes in right there. That's pretty well blocked off. So they did a good job on, if there's not going to be detail in an area, they block it off so you can't see it anyways. Alright, so moving on to our last sprue, and this is our clear parts. And these clear parts, absolutely crystal clear, no issues, no warpage, no anything. I mean, they're absolutely perfect on the see-through. No distortion or magnification on these while you look through them. Just absolutely gorgeous. And we have the mask form, so that's really going to help with all of this. So definitely very nice work on the clear parts right here. Alright, so there we have it for the brand new Academy 135th U.S. Marine Corps UH-1Y Venom. Now this kit looks absolutely amazing. I can't say anything wrong about it. Minus this is being extremely nitpicky, but the seam line that's going to be down the bottom, trying to sand that out, you are going to lose a little bit of detail with the rivet detail and panel line on there. So a little bit of re-engineering for the underside, a possibility, but again, everything else on this kit looks absolutely perfect. And the way that the AH-1Z went together, I'm hoping that this one goes together the same way. I know this kit's going to be an absolute dream to build if it's going to be like the AH-1Z, which it does look like it's going to be like that. Just all the other detail on there, I can't really see any aftermarket needed for it. The front console, all the cockpit detail looks very nice. The seats, yes, maybe some seat belts and some other detail to it. Yeah, maybe. But you can go in and do a little bit of scratch building yourself with some Mr. Surfacer to add the texture to the seats, and then tape seat belts. Or you can go the route of 3D printed or photo etch seat belts for that. It's really the only thing that's missing from this kit. Really, everything else on this looks absolutely amazing. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a second one so I can do one with the wings folded and the wing or the rotors folded or the rotors extended on that, because this looks absolutely amazing, and it looks like it's going to be a dream to build. And it also looks like it's not going to take up a lot of shelf space does not look like it's going to be a huge kit. So that's all I have to really say about the kit. The decals also look amazing as well. I mean, there's not a downside to this kit straight out of the box from what I can see. Now, have I gone in and checked all the shapes and the windows and all the like small little fiddly parts and making sure that those are all correct? No. But straight out of the box right now, it looks like it's going to be a great kit, a great build, fun one. So if you can get this kit, I would highly recommend getting it, because you're going to enjoy this. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope if you're on the fence about getting this kit, I hope this helped you make your decision. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button for notifications of when I post future content. And until next time, have a great day, stay frosty, and happy modeling.